the man behind the hustle and grind. This is pride, courage, determination, and perseverance. Welcome to No Luck's Given. Yo, welcome back to No Luck's Given. This is episode 28?
28 episodes
Man, my name is Danny Keith. I got my co-host in the building.
Brother Luck.
Brother Luck, lucky brother, man, I appreciate you being here. We are live on both cameras. Look, if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, if you're on YouTube at Chef Brother Luck's YouTube channel, or, you know what I'm saying, if you're a Patreon member, look, we appreciate the love, the support. And if you're on the live, which we don't even have either of these lives,
I know, I was literally
cracking right now. You know what I'm saying? That's how beautiful today has been. But we're going to get these lives going. Brother Luck, how you doing, man? Checking in. How's your week? How's your day? How was your vacation? How's your life?
Man, Monday is full force. It's a full court press right now.
Hey, full court press in the first quarter.
You know what I mean? But it's Monday, and that's okay.
No Luck's given, baby.
You know, and that's good, though. You know, I think without challenges, without struggles, you can't persevere.
Hey, go ahead and talk about it. Without challenges, without struggle, you can't persevere. That's the whole message.
Yeah, man. And Mondays are usually the best representation for most people.
Yeah, Mondays are tough, man. You know what I'm saying? I thought I was getting my Monday off to a good start, you know what I'm saying, early on, and then the day just progressed, and man, stuff happens, and you know what I'm saying, and you got to call an audible, you know what I'm saying, and today I think we're going to talk about, like, scaling and, like, getting out of your own way, like the struggles of entrepreneurship and, you know, more of, like, ownership, the things that owners go through, and that, you know, at the end of the day, if this is an entrepreneur podcast, you know, owners of businesses or small businesses, they value this content, you know, the most.
Yeah.
So, like, we want to speak in, and you know, I've been going through a lot of things in my own business, and like, I am in a time of scaling, and, you know, I am working with different groups of people at this time. So it's interesting for me to hear, like, this conversation and be able to apply it, you know, in my own life, my own business, but also, you know, it's good for my mental thought process as an owner.
Yeah.
So, like, let's go ahead and open this conversation. You know, first and foremost, before we jump into it, like, yo, how's your week been? We got to do our check-in. What's up, Brother Luck? What's up, everybody hopping on the lives? We got our lives popping. We started the podcast before the lives. This is different today, but we appreciate the love. What's cracking, man?
I had a great weekend. I had the opportunity to go down to Paso Robles, or Paso Robles, depending on how you want to say it.
Robles.
Passing through the oaks. As the translation.
That's what it means.
Because there's tons of beautiful oak trees out there. Mm-hmm. And we went and toured a couple of our winemakers.
That's dope.
You know, we carry a lot of that region wine on our list, so we wanted to actually go see.
So what wines are from them? Is it like, hit me with a name or two, see if
Austin
I know
Hope.
any.
Austin Hope.
Oh, that's my favorite. Austin Hope, y'all can clip that up, like, use it as a promo. That's my favorite.
And we actually got to spend like 3-4 hours with Austin.
Oh, that's super dope. He
came out, hung out with us.
That would have been cool to have on camera.
Yeah, man, it was totally unexpected. We didn't know if it was going to happen or not. It happened at the last minute, and you know, it's just.
Hey, next time you go to the wineries, man, my calendar may be open.
Yeah,
at that time.
No, I got some plans, Dana. I got some plans. Don't even. I got some plans after this trip. But you know, we went to Austin Hope. We went to Dow. Dow was beautiful.
I saw you walking around and actually like picking out the grapes and stuff.
Oh man, yeah, that was
which is super dope.
We were at Tablas Creek for that one, and we got to walk through the vineyards, pick the grapes, eat. And it's, you know, I've been to wineries in the summer, but coming in October is actually really unique because everything's ripe, everything's processed at that point. Everything's been harvested or at its last stage.
It's more at the backside of the process.
it was really cool to get to see it, to get to experience it.
Because in the summer it's more in the beginning, is that right?
Yeah, big time. And, you know, everything's still, you know, in production. They're growing it. They're just starting the picks.
All right, so this is my question. How was Sauce acting?
Oh, Sauce turned into a fangirl. when we got to Austin Hope and Austin walked out, Sauce turned into a fangirl.
Oh my God.
But you know what? This is the beauty. So like, Steve is so good at what he does.
Yeah.
And
Austin
Steve
was probably impressed.
He was, because Steve knew, like, and here's the whole point of why we went. We really enjoy that region of wine right now.
Yeah.
Like that's probably one of my favorite regions to drink. And we've wanted to know why. Mm-hmm. Right? What's so special about this part of California?
Yeah.
So we wanted to go see it for ourselves. We wanted to go experience it. And, getting to sit down with some of these winemakers, talk with some of these, generational, like this has been passed down. Like their parents were winemakers.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right,
Like
right.
It gives you such a better understanding.
Like in the family, you know what I'm saying?
But even to see something as simple as like the gravel and the amount of limestone that's in there, and the fossil beds that a lot of these vineyards are on in that region are very similar to Rhone style wines. So that's why you see this amazing flavor profile happening, because it's only in that region of California.
I feel like today we should have a glass of wine. I feel like is that what's coming on? I don't know.
You know what? I'm cleansing. I'm cleansing right now. I had a
too,
lot of wine this weekend.
Me too.
But I'll get you a glass.
Hey, Chico says in Kentucky all they got is bourbon.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like regional, they got different types of drinks.
Absolutely.
Or, you know what I'm saying, how they actually make it.
Yeah.
What was your favorite part? What was your favorite part of your trip?
Honestly, it was the beach house we got.
Just like the beach house and like chilling. It was chilling out in a different scene.
It was myself and Tina and then two other couples.
Yeah.
And we were like kind of looking at, where do you guys want to stay? You want to stay in Paso, or you want to go, and like the beach is like it's only 10 miles away.
Right.
So it's like, now let's get a beach house.
Yeah.
So we got this huge beach house that the windows opened up onto the Pacific. It was crazy.
Yeah, that's dope.
It was so beautiful. But that was one I was like, man, I just want to stay another day and read a book.
Right.
But
just chill out.
Yeah. So we'll probably definitely rent the house again.
Yeah. So he says, sorry, I'm late. Which region?
Oh, Paso. We went down to Paso Robles.
Wine sounds good. What's y'all favorite type of wine? I just want to know. Like, if y'all got favorite type of wines, you know what I'm saying? Give me some recommendations. You heard? Look, Brother Luck got people call in. Look, all right, so this is where we transition to ownership and maintaining a damn business. That's hilarious.
Yeah, no, it was so beautiful, man.
So the beach house was your favorite.
It was, but you know what? Just getting to see these wineries and the people.
Yeah.
Right, because it's a lot of people it takes to grow, to pick. Mm-hmm. to barrel, to clean,
right,
to organize all that stuff, and then get it ready for distribution. Like, it's a lot of work, which is why when we talk about wine, and me as a chef, when I write, we always write after we taste the wine. Because, and thankfully we have things like Corvins that we can use now to actually tap wines that you don't want to actually open.
What's that?
So it's like this little needle that goes through the wood cork and actually injects the wine out, but pushes some gas into the wine so it stays sealed, so you can taste a really high profile wine without cracking it.
Nuh-uh.
I swear, we got some at the
Did y'all just hear that?
That's the beauty of technology. So we have some of those at 4 that we use. But Steve and I like to taste the wine first, because there's so much time that goes into the wine, and there's so many years worth of structure that's happening,
right,
that we can't begin to create a dish that's going to compete with that amount of work.
All right, anybody listening, I want y'all to know this. This is an exclusive. Sorry, just kidding. This is just a moment that I want to talk to y'all. The relationship myself and brother grew over wine dinners.
Yeah.
So like this is fun to me to hear, because I have a new appreciation of wine.
You do. You've developed a palate
now, and Austin Hope is one of my favorite.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't really know like the levels. So you know what I'm saying? I'm still learning. But I will tell you this. Every time I go out and buy a bottle of wine myself, I'll be like, damn it, I should have just rocked with brother got. You know what I'm saying?
Just ask.
You know what I'm saying? So I want people to give me a recommendation of wine. But what I really wanted to say was like a fun, documentary on the last one, or maybe it's the second one. I don't know where it's going to end up being. But it's a wine dinner edition. Like, we've done so many wine dinners that, and I did so many interviews that I could make a mean, just fun film So I think that's a cool interest. What's going on with the IG?
Because I got a phone call.
Brother Luck had an issue with the IG. You know, Dana Keith Facebook is popping. I appreciate the check in on all my fans. What's up? Go ahead, man. Let's talk. I want to bring it back to the wine, though, man.
Yeah. So wine is beautiful because it's every bottle's different, right? Every grape is different.
Every year,
the season,
that vineyard or whatever.
Did they have fires? Did they have floods?
Right.
Was it a drought? There's so many things that impact the wine that's what's beautiful about this. You don't drink wine to get drunk. You drink wine for the story. So, you get this story of geography. You get this story of history.
Yeah.
You get all of this in one bottle. And I love that. That's one of my favorite parts of experiencing wine. So, as you start to learn the regions of the world,
yeah,
you start to realize where the grapes come from.
Is a distillery the same way in that fashion, or is it different in the terms of consistency? Because they have barrels. Is that right?
Well, wine's aged in barrels too.
Okay, so like break it down, because when I look up, I see like the liquor bottles, and I just think like, what are the differences between like liquor and wine?
Yeah, so the biggest thing that you're going to see when it comes to wine versus alcohol is always going to be content, right? Percentage, how strong it is.
Yeah.
So wine is nowhere near as strong as something that's been distilled like a bourbon or rye. These things are quick. A wine has time to really, really start to change. But what's unique about tasting all these wines from different regions is you have to learn where the grapes are from.
Yeah.
Right. So you start to identify different grapes, like Cabernet Sauvignon. That's a grape. Merlot is a grape.
Oh, that's my favorite, Cabernet Sauvignon.
Yeah. See,
I thought it was Sauvignon.
It could be either or.
Sauvignon.
But as you start to
take you up on that.
As you start to understand these different grapes, then you start to realize where they're from, and then you start to learn what you like. So like, you like Cabernet Sauvignon.
Yeah.
Like, that's beautiful that you get that, because now you can say, okay, what Cabernets do I want?
Right.
Where?
Right.
Do I want French? Do I want American? Do I want Old World? Do I want New World?
Right.
So you start to so when you go into the liquor store,
I can't wait to explore that.
Yeah. So when you go into the liquor store,
yeah,
you'll notice the signs will tell you the regions of the world.
For real?
Oh yeah. Look up next time.
My ass ain't never seen that.
Yeah.
In my life.
So anytime you go into a liquor store, the wines are going to be broken down by the regions of the world.
Really?
Right. And then they'll be broken down by the types of grape.
Okay.
So you'll see both most of the time.
Yeah.
So it'll say New Zealand, Australia, France, Italy, Germany. Like, you'll see all of that up there on the signage. And then you look at it, and then it'll say, here's our Cabernets.
So what are your
here's
recommendations for like a Cabernet Sauvignon?
Well, I think since we're talking about what we just experienced, we sell and drink a lot of Austin Hope. And his Cabernet Sauvignon.
So Austin Hope is one of those.
That's one of the wines he makes.
Okay.
So he makes, depending on which region the grapes are growing, that's what kind of wines they're going to make.
Okay.
So that's where you'll see,
is Austin Hope New Age, Old Age?
It's New World.
New World.
Yeah. So anything that's not Europe is Old World, right? Or excuse me, that's backwards. So if it's Old World, it's Europe.
It's Europe.
Right? The rest of the world is New World.
Okay. Got it.
Because we came on to wine later. Like, when you think about wine, like, it started in the Middle East.
Yeah.
Right? And then it went to Italy.
I mean, I don't know this for sure, but I'm
think
learning,
about it.
I'm learning.
Jesus was drinking wine. He was in the Middle East. Like, real talk.
All right, here's a question.
Right?
Here's a question. Hold on. Before we get...
But then you get into like Roman Empire. They take the grapes. They go to Italy. Right? Caesar starts spreading it. It's Pontius Pilate. All those dudes spread the grapes all through Italy. And then you get into France. Like, it all is spread through this timeline.
For real.
So how to get to the U.S., right?
How did it?
Then you start to see wine come to the U.S., right? Catholic churches. Think about it, man. It's crazy history. And I think that's what's beautiful. So that's what's really cool. Like,
so when did wine get here? About what
see,
time?
Now you get into the sommelier questions. You got a chef, right?
Okay, my bad. I'm learning. You trying to school me on some wine? You feel me?
I love it.
All right, here's a question from our fans. We got one of our fans. Okay, what's the most expensive bottle of wine that you've tasted?
Ooh,
And then I got another question based off of that one.
Off the top, I've had a couple Screaming Eagles, which are $2,500 a bottle.
Screaming Eagle.
Oh, you know what? I think the most expensive bottle that I had was I was doing an event with Katsuji a couple months ago, and they had a 1961 Chateau Mouton Rothschild, which was insane. It was insane, and it was like the bottle was like $2,500 a bottle.
Damn.
Yeah.
Hey, there it goes. All right, here's my other question. What is the best tasting wine to you? Best tasting wine.
It depends on how I'm feeling. It depends on what I'm eating. I mean, for me, probably rosé all day. I drink a lot of rosé
all day. Okay.
I think, but rosé is meant to be you're meant to drink rosé within that year. By the time the new rosé comes out, like rosé don't age well, because you got to think like a rosé is simply the wine is left, the water and the juice is left with the skins, the red grapes, just until it turns pink before they remove it. So that's what turns it pink, rosé. So it's just the grape skins that are coloring it for that small amount of time.
And then with like a wine, it sits with it longer. Is that
so like
kind of
a red wine that's going to age, right? So they're going to leave it on the they're going to leave it on the stems, on the seeds, get the tannins out of it. Then they're going to put it into some oak and let it age in the oak and pick up the flavors of the wine. Like that's going to go a lot longer. So
how
that's
long
why
is that process?
It depends. What we were seeing at some of these distilleries is, this is about a 2-year process. And then it gets released usually on that 3rd year. So about 3 years from being picked.
Right.
So like the grapes we were tasting in the vineyard this weekend will probably be in a bottle on the shelves in 3 years.
24.
Yeah. But then, depending on that type of grape, how well was it taken care of?
Right.
You can buy that bottle, that case, and now age that case. And now you can start to get something like we bought one bottle of this dessert wine that Topless Creek made, and he's like, this will last for 20 years. So like I bought that bottle with the intention of not drinking it for 10, 20 years.
Right. So that when you say age, you mean like how long you hold it.
Yeah, like you see my basement. I put wine in the basement, and it just
right.
It's cool, it's controlled. I got a good climate. For the higher end wines that I have the wine fridge in my dining room, but like that's
you keep a lot.
I'm keeping it. It's a collection. It's like art. Right. This is going to be worth something in 10, 20 years when all of a sudden this bottle that you bought for $20-$30 might turn into something that's worth $2,000.
Right. And you got to think a lot of people are opening them, and then it gets more exclusive as time goes by. And
you start to, get access to things that you would never expect. Like, so we had a bottle of Scarecrow. We got to taste a couple bottles of Scarecrow, and Scarecrow is a wine which was made by the dude who played the Scarecrow in Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Right? So it was a very highly well-received vintage, right? Everybody loved the bottle when it came out, but then there was only a small amount released. So you had to be on a list to get it. Like you couldn't just go to the store and buy it. You'd be on the list.
Yeah.
So you got on the list to get it.
Yeah.
And then people were on the list and they still couldn't get it. Like it was so exclusive. Right. So like when
That's
people have
people
Scarecrows,
buy Jordans.
Yeah, exactly. Same game.
Which is crazy.
When you see a bottle like Scarecrow, so we actually did a dinner with the grandson of the actor who played the Cowardly Lion, and he wrote into the Scarecrow and was like, "Hey, this is me and my grandfather," and he got on the list because he's family.
Yeah.
So that's how he got his access to his allocation, and that's how he ended up with all that Scarecrow wine. And that stuff runs like $900 a bottle, $700 a bottle.
Yeah.
So there's stuff like that you can kind of get into, which is always cool.
Man,
got some questions.
One of the questions was, have you ever had beer that was aged in wine barrels?
I have. You're starting to see a lot of beer. You're starting to see a lot of tequila going into these wine barrels. Port specifically is kind of what you're seeing a lot of. It's kind of, depending on what you want. I mean, like a beer that's been aged in port barrels is going to be extra sweet. It's going to have some really cool oaky notes to it. I'm not the biggest beer drinker, but I'm very well versed in beer.
Yeah. What's a good dark beer for me?
I mean, you definitely want a good stout.
Yeah,
but I would actually,
stouts.
I would push you towards a porter because I think you would enjoy it because it's got more wine notes to it.
Okay, so a porter.
I think a porter would be fun for you.
Okay.
But you know.
So all right. How about this one? Have you ever attempted to make your own wine? Probably not.
I haven't. No. I mean, I've seen the process multiple times. Been on a lot of vineyards.
I've tried to make my own. Never mind. Keep going. Sorry, just kidding. Joke. I was successful. I didn't try.
But I think it'd be really cool, you know. I mean, to be involved with that and get to be a part of the whole process, even to own like.
He said, "Sorry, I was raised on Mad Dog 2020."
you know, it's funny. So check this out. So I spent most of my childhood in Vallejo, and Vallejo, California, is in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
Right. E40, Mac Dre, Selly Cell, Mac Mall. Like this. That's kind of a big part of my background. Right.
Yeah.
All my aunties and uncles always drank the box wine. Right. The Chablis.
Yeah.
Right.
Hector, my cousin used to drink that shit.
You know, and they would drink it. And what's crazy about living in Vallejo is you were 10 minutes away from Napa Valley.
Oh my gosh. You like, are so close to great wine.
I had no idea growing up how close we were to all these amazing wines. And nobody in my family drank wine like I drink wine now. So I never really got schooled on it. Like you said, we drank Boone's Farm, we drank Mad Dog 2020, we drank Cisco, we drank Thunderbird.
One of my first time
Carlos Rossi,
Mad Dog 2020.
You know, that's what we were drinking. So when I was 19, I went to culinary school, or I was in culinary school, and one of the classes was international food and wine. So we would taste wine. We'd pick 3 that day, and the sommelier, the instructor, would then talk us through the wine. And we would taste these wines. We'd talk about the regions they were from, and then we'd go downstairs to the actual dining room at the school, and then we'd serve the wines. Right. So then I would go to work.
You get a cool experience being able to describe it after you taste it.
And then your homework would be based on those wines. Like you'd have to study that.
Oh, okay, that's even cooler.
So then I would go to work at the Hyatt where I worked at, and then I would ask the wine director questions there, and I'd be like, so
based on what you just experienced.
I just learned today. I learned about Sauvignon Blancs, and you know, I just made this special that's got all this mango and all these macadamia nuts, and I think it go well with a Sauv Blanc. Yeah. So then the wine director would be like, well, taste this, taste this, taste this. So then I realized work became wine knowledge as well. So for me, it was kind of a bonus of both because it was school and it was work, and I was getting to taste it all.
That's cool to be able to see it come back full circle now with the wine dinners and the way that you execute on your events here is pretty cool full circle.
Even think like the fact like of when we do, because I'm gonna bring Austin Hope out here. Like he's gonna come to Colorado Springs.
Oh, that's super dope.
He's totally in. We just gotta wait for the right time. We gotta make sure schedules match up. But
that's beautiful. I
want him to come out and I want him to experience what we do. But then I also want to go out there and do a dinner. So like one of my ideas is actually like the house we just had.
Yeah,
I want to rent that house and throw some dinner pop-ups.
Yeah,
right. 10 people, because I'm telling you, the whole patio like could fit 10, 12 people.
Right.
On one table. Right on the ocean.
Right.
And then Brother Luck and Steve Kander are cooking while Dana's filming.
Hell yeah, and I'm gonna be drinking some wine.
And we're gonna be drinking some wine. So,
all right, I got a question. Can wine get too old? Like you know, aging it seems like you know. The cliche or the phrase is like it gets better with time. Can it get too old?
It can, and a lot of it comes from for one, how's it taken care of, right? Was temperature, light, right? Light's a big factor, sunlight, so it needs to be stored in a dark area because you don't want it to get through the bottle.
Right?
I didn't
That's
know
why
that. They're tinted.
I didn't know that.
So light's a big factor, temperature's a big factor, and then oxygen's a big factor. So, you know, if the cork wasn't taken care of, did the oxygen get into the wine and start to ruin the wine? So those factors really become a big piece of it. This is where your sommeliers are going to be experts. They're going to tell you if it's past its prime. They're going to recommend when they think it should be drank. You know, us as chefs, we get like a little glimpse of it, and some of us are like, you know, have a little bit of knowledge, but I was talking with Kasuji the other night, and he was like, "Oh, you know, what are you drinking?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm drinking a, I don't know what was that. I was drinking a Beaujolais," and he's like, "Oh, you shouldn't drink Beaujolais if they're not from that year." And I've never heard this. Yeah. So I go to Steve, our sommelier, and I'm like, "Steve, why should we not drink Beaujolais? And he's like, oh, well, it's this type of Beaujolais should be drinking while it's very young or extremely old. He's like, what you're drinking is not that type of Beaujolais. So, this is where like their job is to study and learn as much as they can about the regions and the grapes and the storylines and the characteristics and, to pinpoint exactly what's going on with the wine.
All right, this is hilarious because they want to come. They says, love me some Austin Ho. When do reservations open? It's not even yet, but we don't have a date. But
it will come. It'll probably be in the springtime.
I love you for that.
Yeah, it'll probably be in the springtime.
All right, so that's dope. For the people that hold on, here it is.
Okay, so when people talk about a light, crisp wine, I think a white wine. Is that only for whites, or can a red wine be that way as well? If so, what kind? Absolutely. I think there's some beautiful red wines.
Hold on, break it down. What's the question?
So a light, crisp wine, right? So something that's not too heavy. So, like a lot of people when they start drinking red wines, they don't want a Cabernet Sauvignon. It's too much, the tannins, right? So if you ever swish that wine in the front of your teeth, in between your gums, and then drink that wine after that, you're going to get what's called the tannin test, and it's going to dry out your entire palate. It's going to tell you how big those tannins are, meaning like the skins and the stems, they've all released these tannins to dry your mouth out. So most people who start drinking red wine don't like that. It's too much. Now, for someone who does drink wine, you start to realize like, oh, well, you need it with food, right? So this is where fat becomes a very important piece. Red meats become very important. But for someone who's just starting to drink wine and you're looking for something, I say go with a red blend. I think red blends of 4 or 5 different grapes are a great introduction, and I actually like them a little more chilled than what you would see at that 58 degrees. I'd rather have them closer like 50. So, chill that red wine and go with a blend. Because they're going to be a little bit sweeter, and going to be a little bit lighter.
This is such a funny question. For most people like me who don't really have like a wine cooler or anything that says that, is that refrigerator or freezer?
Okay, so freezing's 32 or below, and a fridge is 42 and above. So... I ain't got no words for that one.
That is hilarious. This is a serious question.
So if you don't have to have like some super fancy wine fridge like that, when you start building a collection,
red blends, put it in the refrigerator.
Yeah, when you start building a collection, absolutely invest in one. It's like $1,500. Like, do it because you're making an investment. That's something that can turn into a lot later down the road. But, when we're talking about like your fridge at home, I guarantee your fridge at home is somewhere between 36 degrees and 42 degrees because that's about the standard setting. And that's fine. That's going to keep the wine nice and cold.
Yeah, because I normally have my wine on outside.
It's a little too cold.
Yeah.
Unless it's a white wine.
Okay.
Right? White wine should be about that temperature.
I just keep everything room temperature. Is that bad?
Well, it depends on what your room temperature is, right? So, like, I say I keep a lot of my wine in the basement because my basement is like 55, 60 degrees most of the time. Right? So, I know that's where my basement stays at.
My
so
house
the wine's
like
good.
69, 70.
Yeah, so it's a little hot. It's a little too hot. Now, it's fine because you're not putting, this crazy amount of high-profile wine into your apartment or your house. You're putting it
my apartment. Let's be clear.
But when you're storing wine, you want it in a cooler place. You want a dark place because remember the 3 things that are going to affect the wine, which is oxygen, light, and temperature.
Oxygen. And when you say oxygen, break down that because you said light and temperature. I understand both those. Oxygen. What do you mean by that?
So like if you open the wine.
Oh, like that. That's oxygen.
The oxygen's now in the bottle.
Oh, so once you open it, then it's kind of like everything else.
It's gonna start to deteriorate
over time. Okay, so this is funny and this is hilarious because this brings me back to one of my questions. I just found out eggs expire.
Yeah,
they do. What's your timeline on eggs?
It depends.
This is a real life question, y'all. This is
I like how I switched to food. So a big difference between pasteurized or not pasteurized.
I was just saying.
Right?
Go ahead.
So like, if you got fresh eggs that come straight from the chicken, and they haven't been pasteurized, meaning they haven't gone on like some high heat to spray it. What that does is when you buy pasteurized eggs, like at the grocery store, they've been sprayed with a high temperature solution. So it's actually washed off this protective film on the outside. So that's what starts to.
So if I had pasteurized, like they're good. Like, well, how long?
They're going to last a little bit longer, but they're going to need to be in your fridge. This is why you can't put those on the counter versus like if you go to somebody's house who like they got their own chickens, their eggs are on the counter. They're fine. They've got that protective film on there because they haven't been washed yet.
Oh, okay. I only say that because I did have some pasteurized and some like farm eggs. Yeah. And I was like, dang, he's been in here for a long time.
Just eat your eggs.
And then I looked it up. I was like, I should probably just go get some new eggs.
Yeah. I mean, pay attention to the dates, but I wouldn't. I don't know. I think eggs after 2 weeks, it's probably time to go.
All right. Good
don't buy that much eggs.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? I just need to cook for myself again.
So I want to go back to this wine. So let's keep that conversation because a lot of people are intrigued by this, and I love that. So, when it comes to your choice of wine, and you walk in the store right now, what's intimidating about the wine store, like the wine section?
So, like, I guess intimidating, like, for me, is just, like, all the unknowns. Like, I need a good recommendation. I actually like this little place over here, Old Buddy.
Oh, yeah. Phenomenal.
He's on it. I'll be like, yo, give me a good wine. He always brings me somewhere, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But, like, at most, liquor stores, like, they don't have an expert like such, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like for me, I just feel like it's just a knowledge gap that I have in terms of with the whole wine thing. So I normally stay with like a Cabernet. That's what I like. But what you said is the red blends, so I'm gonna try that on different occasions. You heard.
Yep.
And we'll figure that out.
One of my favorite apps that I always recommend to people is download the Wine Maps app.
Wine Maps.
Wine Maps. It's a free app you can get on your phone, and it actually allows you to pick up which region of the world, or which old country, new world, old world. Like you can go through and like pick, and it'll tell you all about that region where the wine's from.
Yeah,
and it's really cool. I think it's a great way to start to learn about the geography of wine, because that's a very important piece. Like you got to know, like if I'm drinking Malbec, it's from Argentina. Right, so that's kind of where you have to kind of get your head.
All right, so check this out. Here you go. You said rosé earlier. What, like, when you look for rosé, like, what type of rosés do you look for? Like, is there a brand or like a region or something that you would look for?
Yeah, lately I've been into a lot of Oregon rosés. That's definitely been my go-to lately. I've also been into a lot of Italian sparkling rosés. So that's kind of been my other go-to. I think what's nice about that is the beauty of wine is you have to buy it and taste it. It's just like drinking beer or drinking a spirit. You know what you like because you tasted it.
Yeah.
So now you start to explore and say, okay, today I'm going to buy 3, because wine's only like $10-15 a bottle. It's not.
Yeah. Okay. So that is something that a lot of people will think about is like the prices of wine. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like for me, I try to stay away from the $10 bottles.
No, there's some great finds out there. One of the greatest indicators is wine reps when they stock the shelves and they sell the wine to these wine shops. What they do is they actually give them cards. So read the cards, because that comes directly from the person who sold the wine.
Yeah, what cards? Where are these cards?
Those cards will be in front of the wines, and they'll tell you how many points. Right, so 90 or above is usually what Wine Spectator, which is a national publication, will rate these wines.
Bro, when I see in front of the wines, I see the price.
Well, start looking around.
I need to see if I go. I'm gonna look next time I'm there.
That's a good indicator of a good salesperson, because they care about that wine and they want to sell that wine.
Okay.
Right. So someone who took the time to make sure that all those cards were there,
to
me is already above the other ones. So I'm gonna pay attention to the cards.
Got it.
Then I'm gonna look at points. Points don't mean everything, but this is a professional group that tasted this wine and determined that this was what we felt it was. This is a 90-point wine. This is a 94-point wine. So
what's the top? Is it 100?
100.
Yeah.
So you want to stay in that top 10th percentile, right? So that's a good indicator. A good wine does not have to be expensive, right? Because there's so many things that go into each bottle and each region and each season that, here we are in 2021 right now.
We don't know what year.
I don't even know what year we're in. But you'll be able to find some really good stuff right now. based on who had what kind of season.
What's a good sweet wine? Like a red sweet wine. What's a good recommendation?
It depends. If you're drinking it just to drink it, or are you drinking it for dessert?
Like drinking it to drink it and drinking it to dessert. Break those down.
Yeah, so like you don't like big, dry, old world, robust.
Yeah, I don't want say
barnyard.
I don't want bitter because like bitters,
right? Funky.
Yeah,
so
like
those are more older wines, more European style wines. So you're probably gonna want to drink with a red blend for that reason. Okay. Because and I would drink New World. I would probably push you into a California red blend.
Do a red blend. That's a recommendation.
And stick with Napa, Sonoma. I think those would be good areas. There's some. I mean, I started this off with my favorite is Paso right now. I love what they're doing. I think I'm just partial to California wines just because, for one, I'm from California, but two, I'm American. Just like you talk to a French chef, he's going to tell you everything about Bordeaux and the Rhone Valley and everything he loves about French wines. And French wines are phenomenal. But that's what they're raised on. We're raised on California wines mostly out here, so it's just a little bit different.
This is crazy. This is cool. This is wine. Man,
but that's what's exciting. One of the ideas that I have is, I'm probably going to be hosting a series of trips over the course of the next year and taking people to some of these wine regions with Steve and myself. So we're going to take you to these areas and actually allow you to fully immerse yourself into our experience, which is like what we just did in Paso. But I think Willamette Valley is probably going to be another one. We're going to hit up. I want to get up to Washington. I want to get up to Oregon. So it's kind of the reason for that trip. I think there's some great stuff happening up there. I'd love to just go do a Pinot tour, and taste all kinds of different Pinot Noirs through Oregon. I think that'd be really fun. So, I think when you add a chef into the mix and you add a sommelier into the mix, we can go to the markets and we can make a phenomenal meal. But then at the same time, you're going to get a wine class, you're going to get a wine tasting, and then we'll do a big dinner.
Dang.
That's a cool trip.
Yeah. How many people you think would be on that?
Oh, we're trying to figure out housing. That's really the challenge right now. So, do you just buy the house and then have different properties across the country that you can just go tour and have these beautiful homes at, or do you rent them?
Right.
So really it's just finding the lodging. So that's kind of what we're in the middle of doing right now.
That's a dope trip. For somebody like me, I want to be a part of like the education because, that's the fun part is learning more about it, then get your interest and your appreciation, greater when it comes to wine. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because when you say rosé, like initially, like I used to think like rosé was just like female wine.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And now I'm gonna drink rosé a little differently.
I love rosés.
You know what I'm saying?
And the reason, here's why I like rosés. Rosés are very versatile from acidity to sweet. I like cold wine, so if I don't really want to start off with white wine, I love starting with a rosé or sparkling. And I think there's always a good occasion to be drinking rosé or sparkling wine. Like, if you got a glass of champagne, like life's not that bad.
Yeah.
That's just kind of my thoughts on it. But it's a good sipping wine. It's a good, just relaxing, especially in the summertime when it's warm. Rosés are beautiful. You get all those strawberry notes and you get the watermelon notes and the rose hips. Like, there's these beautiful red flavors that come out of these wines that they're light. They're not too aggressive. They're not going to kill your palate. And then they pair very well with a lot of stuff. So, that's why I like to start with rosés before I start going into some of the reds.
Well, I love rosés and reds. All right, so I got a question. Here's this. How is like your thought process with like pairing wines? Like let's say, for example, for your average, I'm at home, I drink wine, and you know what I'm saying, I cook for the fam. Like, what's some tips like with pairing wine?
Yeah. The first thing is the smell is everything, right? The smell is going to tell you a lot of things about this wine. So don't try to overthink it. What do you smell? And the first thing is I smell fruit. Okay, what kind of fruit? Well, I smell red fruit. Okay, what type of red fruit? Oh, I smell strawberries. Okay, were all those strawberries cooked? Or are they raw? Or are they ripe? And then you're like, oh, it's like a strawberry jam. It's like cooked. Okay, well, you've just got into like really telling the core parts of what you're initially getting. So now with that wine, I should probably pair this with some kind of cooked strawberry because you've narrowed it down that fast. So, when I also look at wines,
so you pair it with what you smell or you taste.
What I smell first, and then what I taste, right? Because your tasting gonna be a little bit different. So, based on what I'm tasting, I'm writing notes of what I'm picking up. Oh, I'm picking up chocolate. Oh, I'm picking up a little bit of ginger in this. I'm picking up some oak in this. I'm getting some peppercorn. My job as a chef and a job as a sommelier is for us to memorize flavor profiles.
Yeah.
The smell of it, the taste of it.
Yeah.
That's extremely important. I need to be able to immediately in my head recollect what a kumquat tastes like. Right? Versus a Tangelo.
My ass don't know what a kumquat is.
Or a grapefruit.
That sounds like a bad person.
Tina says it's a bad word. She says it's
All right, here's a question. They asked this twice, the second time, so I want to point it out. Have you ever been invited to cook or present at somewhere Food and Wine in Wisconsin?
The Kohler Food and Wine in Wisconsin. I have not, but it sounds like a good time. I shout out to Wisconsin. I got to cook in Milwaukee a little bit and had a great time out there. Lived in Chicago for a while, so we were really close. But I've not got that invite, so you can always shoot me an email and we can see if it works.
So it's all about like flavor profiles, matching them, and then would you say like pairing it with things that you are IG messed up again. Sorry, y'all.
Well, that's because I keep getting phone calls.
But would you say like, let's say for example, I'm gonna just use this because this is generic, but like strawberry cheesecake, right?
Uh-huh.
Like if you tasted or smelled like strawberries, would you pair it with something that goes well with strawberries, or is it more of the actual profile itself?
Yeah, well, there's two things I'm thinking about when I taste a wine, and I'm thinking about food and wine pairings. The first thing is, will it go with it or will it be a contrast? So, I swear to God,
that's awesome.
I'm sorry, y'all. My phone keeps ringing and it's just ruining my Instagram lives.
This is incredible.
So I'm a busy person, man.
You better get off here. Look, somebody just hit me with a comment, said, I don't remember Dana ever cooking a meal for us. I was like, nope.
Busted.
Yep. I never, ever cook, y'all. But I'm down to do the taste testing. You feel me? If you do I'll be the taste tester. Ain't I a good taste tester?
You are a great tester. Your commentary on taste testing is the best, though. You you just make groans and you grunt.
Oh, got another phone call. This is an epic episode, y'all.
I can't. I'm sorry,
y'all better leave me alone. And y'all probably right next to each other. Y'all get on my nerves.
So I try to do these Instagram lives, but every time my phone rings, somebody is calling me, and it makes the voice come off. So if y'all can't hear me,
we ain't family.
Yes,
we family. Yes, we family. You no sir. You just said you cook for the family.
Can you guys hear?
Said I cook for the family. I ever said I cook for the family?
You did. You said when I be at home, when I cook for the family, and I'm pairing.
Oh, my son. Oh no. Oh, that's hilarious. I was painting the picture of a listener. Yeah. I was painting a picture of a listener of somebody who's at home and they, they like to drink wine and they cook for the family.
Yeah. So
that's it.
All right.
That is hilarious. That's hilarious. That's funny. But I do cook. All right, so this is a true story here. Y'all ready? When I really started cooking, and this is 100%, is what, one, I started kind of cooking in college, but it was terrible. Like, I wasn't a good cook. Uh-huh. But when I really started cooking was when I lived by myself with my son. Yeah. So every weekend I started cooking, so I got real good at cooking rice. I'm good at some rice, you know what I'm saying? I'm consistent, y'all. I'm real consistent with some rice, y'all. And it's just white rice, you know what I'm saying? I don't really season it with nothing. I remember one day I was like, yo, if you season rice and you told me use broth with half and half now, so that's a tip. I'm going to do it one day. I haven't done it yet. But one day I'm going to cook, y'all. I'm going to be.
Yeah.
And then you would think
so Dana's sister's a chef. He's always around me. You would think at this point.
Like, yo, I promise
he would
you,
pick something
my
up.
sister used to always laugh at me because I would tell her, hey, teach me how to cook. Like, let's cook this. And then we'll get in the kitchen. I'd disappear and just wait. I'll wait till the food cooked. And, boy, I'll be back for the taste test. I'll be back for the taste test, y'all. I'll do back for the taste test. What? I do chicken broth when I make my baked mac and cheese makes the noodles taste better.
Absolutely.
What you think about that?
Chicken broth tastes better in water.
So chicken broth in your mac and cheese too?
Yeah. So when he's talking about when he boils the pasta.
Ooh.
Yeah. See, that's tips and tricks.
Tips and tricks, boy. Yep.
But when you're pairing your wines, when you're pairing your wines, keep it simple, right? I mean, the easiest way, reds obviously are gonna go with your darker meats. Whites are gonna go with your fish and your poultries. Keep it that simple. And then think about what you're serving your dinner with. I mean, fried chicken is perfect with champagne.
Hold on, back up. What?
When you're thinking about, keep it simple. Fried chicken is great with champagne. It's a perfect pairing.
Fried chicken is great with champagne.
We're gonna make some fried chicken, and I'm gonna give you a glass of champagne, and I'm gonna watch you trip out.
All right,
it's a beautiful pairing.
For it.
But like, it's something so simple. If you know, pig and Pinot works together always.
Pig and Pinot.
Right. So we making pork chops, and we're gonna serve it with Pinot Noir.
For real?
So yeah. So now you start to kind of
Pinot. All right, we making a rhyme, y'all. All right, pigs and Pinot. You know what I'm saying? What else did you say?
Churches and champagne.
Fried chicken and champagne. This is funny.
But that's the thing that you always want to kind of think about it is keep it very simple, right? Butter, Chardonnay, like those things go great.
When you say butter, like break it down for people like me. What
like
you
a
mean?
butter, like a butter sauce, a fish cooked in butter, shrimp scampi.
And you said Chardonnay.
A lot of butter. Chardonnay. It's gonna go beautiful.
Butter and Chardonnay. Butter and Chardonnay. I don't know how I'm gonna mix that one.
We're gonna have a verse by the time this is all said and done.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Pigs and Pinot, butter and Chardonnay. You know what I'm saying? Holla at me and brother.
No, so good stuff. So food and wine pairings are extremely fun.
Missed my last bar, y'all. I'm sorry.
I always encourage you to go to a tasting. A lot of your wine stores actually do free tastings.
Nah.
Yeah. You usually you just get on
at the liquor store.
Yeah. So like if you get on so here in town, like let's take Coltrane for example. Coltrane over on Uinta and I-25.
Oh, the big wine place.
Yeah. So if you get on their list, right, as a fan, as a subscriber,
you're
gonna get updates on all this stuff.
Yeah.
So they'll be like, come down to the shop, come do a tasting. This is how you start to get the education versus like I got to go spend all this money and learn how to taste all these wines. Now you have it a little bit better because you're with me all the time. So
I just be like,
you just need to start remembering what you actually had because you've had a lot of this stuff.
That's the thing is like this is the thing about like the whole idea of like awareness. Like I don't really have awareness of what I'm eating, the flavor. I don't do the flavor profiles like y'all. I don't have that in my mind.
Yeah,
my palate. I can't even smell. Like I'm terrible.
But here's another great tip. So there's a organization called the Master Court of Sommeliers.
Yeah.
Right, and the Master Court of Sommeliers on their website actually has tasting templates for when you taste red wine or white wine.
Yeah.
So print one of those off. I encourage you to print one of those off, and actually next time you taste a wine, go through that list, and it will tell you how to actually taste the wine.
Yeah.
What do you smell?
Yeah.
What characteristics? What is it? This is how you start to identify what kind of wine it is.
Yeah.
Right? Because you get to a point where they do blind tastings. You ever seen somebody do a blind tasting?
I've never seen it, but okay. I heard. I want to do that with whatchamacallits.
With Steve?
With sauce.
Okay. So
let's do that. That'll be a fun video.
I think it'd be a great video. Now, just so you guys know, usually there's no blindfolds involved in this.
Cheers Liquor Store does free wine tasting.
Yeah, see, there you go.
You know what I'm saying?
But what they do is essentially, I'm going to pick a bottle. I'm not going to show you the bottle. I'm going to keep it in a bag. I'm just going to give you the glass.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens is, as someone who's really good at understanding wine, what they'll do is a process of elimination. Yeah. So they'll look at it and they'll judge it based on its color, based on its smell, based on its taste. Is it one or two things? Is it new world or is it old world? And if they say it's definitely an old world wine,
Yeah.
You've eliminated California, Washington, Oregon, New Zealand, Australia.
Right. And you know that by like the bitter, it's more bitter. Is that right?
Well, it's got more of a barnyard taste to it. It's more rustic. The terroir, the ground that you taste is kind of funky, right? So that's how you know you're drinking an old world wine. So
if it's nasty, it's old world. So just kidding. That's just kidding. That's just me. I'm just kidding, y'all.
So that's the first thing that'll usually happen. And I watch this all the time. It's so crazy because I'm fascinated by this. So once they determine it's old world, so now they got to decide, is it Italy? Is it French? Right? Or is it Italian? Or excuse me, is it German? Like they'll kind of start to hone in. And then
of what region in Europe?
Mm-hmm. So they'll pick which country. I think this is Italian. And then once they get into that, then they'll be like, all right, so based on the characteristics of this wine, the color of it, the taste of it, it's not these wines because this is definitely a wine from the coast. So it can't be from anything that's not on the coast.
Yeah.
And then they just process of elimination, knock it down until they got it. And then they'd be like, this is a French wine. It's from the Rhone Valley. And this is a 2019. And you're like, man, it's a great. We're going to do it with Steve. I think this is a great one.
Yeah, let's do that because I think it'll be fun to be able to, one, for me to have like a card and see like, is this like what you call it? It's like, give me the credentials before so I know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then watch him be able to do like the process of elimination.
It's crazy. When I first watched him do it, I was blown away.
But you got to pick out the wines though.
Yeah.
And you can't do ones that you know he gonna know.
Exactly.
Like you gotta
get some curveballs.
Test them.
Yeah.
You gotta test
so
them.
but even for your friends, that's a
this
cool.
Is gonna
that's
be
a
fun.
cool way to
I can't
keep
wait.
something very simple. Hey, we're gonna pick 3 wines from California.
Yeah.
And we're gonna tell you it's California,
right?
And then you guys gotta tell me why it's from this region in California.
Or even I think, and this is might be me, but like that's a good way to like taste wine. Let's say, for example, to have like a party or like people get together or whatever, and let's say like people got, let's say 1 bottle of wine, and we pick an area.
Yeah.
So then we get 3 different wines, and we're able to taste 3 wines at one time. You feel me? So that's kind of fun
because then you'll start to say, okay, I'm going to taste, these Cabernet Sauvignons from California, but it's 3 different parts of Napa.
Right.
So these 3 vineyards are completely different on how they grow their Cabernet.
Right.
So that's what's cool about like understanding what the wine's like from that region in California, but then also what it's like in each district, right? They call them the AVAs. So these I think it's agriculture, viniculture areas. I think is what the AVAs are.
I'm gonna just agree.
So that's something that's really cool because then you get to.
Hey, bro, you want to do a wine tasting for a podcast?
Sure.
Leah says, brother is officially invited to a wine tasting on our podcast.
Yeah. That would just be entertaining.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, but I think that's something that's really special. So, don't be afraid of wine. Wine is a beautiful thing, but wine is about the story. Wine is about the people. Wine is about the journey of what it took to get to the table.
Right.
And I always want to put the wine first before I make a dish.
Right.
So I always make my dishes inspired by the wine because the winemaker put so much more time into it.
I love that. That is one part as far as for like consistency with like your relationship with the wine. Like it's a creator's mindset. Is that
it's
like,
a respect?
It's a respect for the art, right? I think that's what I'm getting at.
That's a lot of farming.
Right.
That's a lot of farming.
You've always put the wine first in all your wine dinners. Is that's your emphasis in bringing out the excellence within the wine.
Just like I say with a dish, my job is to not screw up what the farmer did.
Right.
They raised a beautiful pig. They raised a gorgeous cow. They caught a perfect fish.
Right.
Like my job is to not mess that up.
Right.
So that's your job as the chef, is to take your craftsmanship and showcase that, right? Protect that, the integrity of that.
Yeah.
So I think it's something that I bring to the table when I do a lot of my food and wine pairings and dinners.
Next time we gotta have sauce on for this episode.
I think it'd be great. So
it'd be a wine part 2 with sauce, and then we'll be able to taste the wines, and I'll be having a good time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right, I got a question for you. This is from a fan. Are you still in contact with any top chef contestants? And if so, do you visit the restaurants?
Absolutely. Let's see. So
Flam. I know for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, Carrie.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? For
Chris,
sure. Chris, oh my God. We got so much love for Chris.
And even some of the chefs that, I don't know, I actually go to their restaurant to meet them because I'm a fan still, right? Yeah. Even though I've been a contestant on the show a couple times.
And what you're describing is the people that's not on your season. Even if they're not on your season, you extend that love.
I think Shirley's food is phenomenal. And when I was in LA last time, I couldn't wait to go to Mrs. Chi. And it was delicious, and she killed it. And I just was a fan. It's cool that I get to do events with them all.
Right.
But sometimes you meet some of these chefs and it just
and some of them don't even have restaurants. That's another thing.
A lot of them don't have restaurants anymore.
A lot of them don't have restaurants. So
Sasso out there just killing
the game, just doing the private caterings and things like that. That was one of my favorite things about Adrienne.
Yeah,
is I didn't know she didn't have restaurants.
Yeah, she just does a pop-up dinners.
She just does pop-up and private whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. She does private parties and private.
She's a private chef. That's what I'm trying to say.
But she does some cool stuff. And then we got some of the other chefs coming out here. So Byron Gomez is going to be out here November 18th.
Oh, that's a dope plug. Go ahead, November 18th. So a month from today,
it's sold out already.
Oh, sorry, y'all. I try to plug it, y'all. You know what I'm saying? I try to do my job. You heard that? And then he shut it down. It's already sold out, y'all. Sorry, y'all.
Yeah, and then in December I got another chef coming out December 8th. So I haven't announced who it is, but there's your tip. December 8th.
I got a question for you, bro. You ready?
All right.
How hard would it be to plant a vineyard in Colorado on a property?
Not hard. Colorado. See, here's the thing. When you talk wine, grapes, if you look at the world, right, there's two lines where wine grow above and below the equator. So, if you run it across the United States, I think it's almost all 50 states you can go grow grapes here. But
say that again. I was laughing still. My bad. I just zoned back in.
So if you look at the wine map from across the world, you'll see that wine only grows on two lines above and below the equator. Right? So wine grows in Australia, New Zealand, South Africa.
In that
all the way across the world, it's in that one line.
Yep.
Right? And then above the equator, it's in the US, it's in Europe, it's in
So it's either above or below or
right?
in
it's
it.
two lines around the world.
Right.
So Colorado actually grows wine.
So you're saying they grow on those lines?
Yeah, they grow. That's the perfect temperature.
Got it.
Right across the world.
Got it.
So what's unique about that is Colorado grows wine. There's some. I mean, I've been to the Colorado. Where was that? I was at the Palisade Wine Festival, which was really cool. They're very young. But there's some great wines. A lot of winemakers will actually just buy the grapes from California, where the soil is already established, because that's where a lot of the work comes from. It's about what type of soil you have. Is it volcanic? Is it stone? Is it limestone? There's so many different things that actually, Holy Cross is a great example. There's so many things that affect it when it comes to the soil, and then you need the temperature. So, to get the perfect grape versus a lot of people just buy the grapes and then they'll start to make their wine that way. So, I mean, you could definitely do it. I don't know. It'd be fun. It'd be a fun experience.
To actually do your own vineyard.
That's a lot of work.
And you've never done it before. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Does Steve do it? Sauce do it?
No, not to make the wine.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. The West Coast is the ideal soil.
Yeah.
And temperature.
Right.
And that's why you see such beautiful wines coming out of that. But last night I drank a sparkling rosé from New Mexico. Which I never had a New Mexico sparkling wine. It was really good. good. So, there's tons of great stuff. There's some beautiful who's another one here in Colorado?
He said there's a lot of great wines in Colorado.
I think Colterra is another one here in Colorado. But Holy Cross has done phenomenal. It's not out of the question, but
it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
All right, here we go. So we on the backside of the podcast. First and foremost, I just want to thank everybody who's on the lives, engaging and interacting. This is the most fun we have with everybody interacting. It makes it a more enjoyable podcast, you know what I'm saying, with the fans asking questions, and we're able to, engage with those questions. So thank you. If you're on Apple Podcasts, we want to show love to our Spotify listeners. Brother Luck got another phone call, which is perfect timing for this, which is hilarious. And then the backside is like, if you want to be a loyal fan, we appreciate you watching on YouTube on video version. And we also have a Patreon, which is patreon.com/Chef Brother Luck.
Yeah.
Look, man, for anybody at home, and I want to leave, I don't know if I'm going to have a tip yet this week because this is a fun question, but what tip do you have when it comes to wine? My tip that I'm going to take away is rosé. And but what tips would you have for somebody maybe that's in the early phase of their wine journey? What tip would you have? Because I think the fun one I had was kind of feeding off what you said was do a party, do it where everybody get a glass of a bottle of wine. So what tip would you have?
The coolest experience that I had when it came to wine was I was working in Carmel, and we all got off work, and they were like, "Hey, everybody chip in. We're gonna go get some drinks." I was like, cool. Here's $20. So everybody chips in, and they show back up with these cases of wine and all these different varietals, and I was like, "Where's the beer at?"
Yeah.
And I was shocked because that's how they drink out there, right? Because that's wine country. So I encourage you to try a bunch of different bottles and see what you like. Go to some tastings, but don't be afraid to look up things like Master Court Sommelier and get a tasting sheet.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Get the tasting sheet, put it on your phone. And when you drink in the wine next time, go through the steps. What are you actually picking up? Because this is how people are training. To become a sommelier, there's different levels. So there's two main organizations, the WSET or the Master Court of Sommelier. So your Master Court has your level 1, your level 2, your level 3, your level 4, your master. Master is insane. It's a memory game. It's a practical game. They have to be tested on how to serve the wine, what they know about the wine.
Sauce is a master, ain't he? He's a black belt number 3.
Sauce is level 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that master level 3 or no?
You would have 2 more levels to go.
Oh, 2. He got so master's the top, and there's nothing above it.
You a master?
Okay.
Who's the master?
So so he's level 3. How many more?
There's 2 more levels.
4 or 5.
Yep.
5 is master.
Mm-hmm.
That's dope.
Yeah. So, and here's the thing. It's a lot of work to be able to get those certifications. Right. And there's a high failure rate because it's such a hard test.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that he's not a phenomenal sommelier.
Right. Just don't mean
you don't have to
in that world.
Here's the thing. I could be a master chef. There's a title for a master chef, but I would have to go through the process. I don't want to.
Like a degree almost.
Yeah. Well, it's I'd have to do a cooking exam.
Yeah.
It's a 10-day exam.
Yeah.
I'd have to cook. I have to do written.
How many people are master chefs?
I think last I heard it was 150 in the world.
Really?
It's a very small percentage.
Wow.
It might be at 300
and you got to
right
pay
now.
to go do it? Where do you do that?
Well, you got to get sponsored, right? So you got to get co-signed to do it, and then they host them at the culinary school in New York, usually at the CIA. And then it's like a $10,000 investment. It's not cheap.
To be a master chef.
And with a 90% failure rate,
right.
so they say some people who go after being a master somm or being a master chef, either you have it or you don't. Some people take that test 3-4 times and don't make it. That's crazy. I don't know if I want to be that vulnerable.
My tip for this week, because this is hilarious, first and foremost, is actually about my process with wine. You supposed to smell it, you know what I'm saying? And then her brother's going to help me out with the process. But then you swirl it, you know what I'm saying? And then when you drink it at first, you don't drink it to just drink it. You know what I'm saying? You put it in your mouth and you swish it around or something. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you're able to put it on your palate or whatever. And then that's how you taste wine. That's my tip for this week. That's all I got, y'all.
No, it's good. It's so good.
Oh,
Cheeto said there's 51 in the U.S.
51 what?
I'm assuming chefs. Master
51
chefs.
master chefs?
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Holy moly.
That's not that many.
Dope. That's crazy.
That's a hard test.
It's like a super elite. You want to know what it makes me think of? My buddy. My buddy is a PGA Tour. He had to go out and play a certain amount of rounds in a certain amount of time and then score a certain score. And he got there and whatever. So shout out to Sean. But the dude who was in Cali with us, the dude who bounced around with us,
yeah,
he's a PGA pro now. That's
awesome.
who I'm talking about. He's dope. He's a cool friend.
Yeah,
but,
it's what you got to do.
But 51 master chefs in the U.S.
Yeah, see,
that's incredible.
I'm a certified executive chef.
Yeah.
And the next level will be certified master chef. I have no desire to ever try to be a master chef.
Yeah. I'm a certified podcast shouty, and that's pretty much all I got for y'all. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, I love y'all. Look, man, thank you for supporting. Thank you for watching. You got anything before we take off?
No. I see. We've got a request that wants to do a video, so I was waiting till the podcast ended, but we'll definitely jump on the live and say what's up to everybody.
All right, y'all. Thank you for being fans. We love y'all. Support us, and we looking for sponsors. You heard?
Absolutely.
All right, otherwise, we out. Peace.
Appreciate y'all.
The man behind the hustle and grind. This is pride, courage, determination, and perseverance. Welcome to No Luck's Given.